Hey guys, what's going on? Seth here from the RE Tipster blog. What is a 1031 exchange? How does it work? And what do you do if a 1031 exchange falls apart on you? That's what I'm going to talk about here in this video. Okay, so first time I ever heard about the concept of a 1031 exchange seemed a little confusing at first, but once I kind of grasped the tax implications of what it means, it made a lot of sense. Essentially, a 1031 exchange, it's called that because that's, basically from the IRS tax code. And as with most things, the IRS is not very good at explaining stuff in a way that's easy to understand. But essentially what a 1031 exchange allows you to do, in very simple terms, is taking an investment property, so not your personal residence, but an investment property, and then selling it. And instead of paying taxes on all of your appreciation and all of the capital gains from that property, assuming you have any at all, you can take the money and put it into a new like-kind property. And the definition of like-kind is a little bit ambiguous, but essentially it's any other piece of real estate. And again, I'm not a CPA, so talk to your own CPA before you just go ahead and do this stuff, but essentially you could sell a single family house and then buy a apartment building or a piece of land and then buy a commercial property. As long as it's like real estate to real estate, you should be okay. The problem though with a 1031 exchange, they can get a little complicated because the IRS requires that you identify the new property that you want to buy within 45 days of selling the old property. And then you have to actually close on that property within 6 months. And if you know anything about, real estate transactions, especially when you get into the bigger commercial type properties that can involve some tricky financing, it's not always feasible to do this within 6 months. Back when I was working my 8-to-5 day job, I worked for a company that did SBA 504 loans, which is kind of a niche commercial loan product. And I can tell you just from that experience in doing a handful of 1031 exchange deals that the timing does not always go according to plan. Sometimes deals fall apart because the seller gets cold feet, or the due diligence reveals something about the property that the buyer doesn't like, or the financing just doesn't come through. There's all kinds of stuff that can harpoon a deal and make it fall apart. And the problem is, if you don't actually pull this off, identify the property in 45 days and then close on the new property within 6 months or 180 days, then you're out of luck. You have to pay that entire tax bill. And I've seen people have to pay tax bills, just the tax bill itself was $750,000 simply because they were not able to pull this off in time. So depending on the situation, the consequences can be pretty nasty. And so I thought it was pretty brilliant. I recently was talking to the folks over at RealtyMogul. RealtyMogul is a real estate crowdfunding platform, and I had never really knew that you could do this, but apparently with real estate crowdfunding, where essentially people can invest in smaller portions of a bigger real estate investment rather than buying the whole thing outright and having to do it all themselves. They can be one of many different players that puts their money into a specific property. And when you're doing this kind of deal, say if you have a 1031 exchange that is not going well, say something went wrong or the property is just not going through, or say you don't even want to mess with that. You have a property that you inherited, you just want to sell it off, but you don't want to pay a huge tax bill on anything. You just want to take the money and transfer it to real estate, but you don't want to hassle with all of the difficulties and burdens of finding a deal and going through that whole transaction. A really nice and easy solution to that would be something like RealtyMogul. And the nice thing is with RealtyMogul, they already have these deals all put together, and it's 3 to 5 business days after you say, yes, I want to do it, that the deal is done. And you don't have to pay the taxes. They handle all the forms, all of the red tape, all the paperwork, everything. They've got the systems in place to make this really, really easy. This can also make a lot of sense if, say you just sold a property for, $500,000, and you've identified 1 or 2 new properties, but the total cost of those new properties is not $500,000. Maybe it's $400,000. So you've still got this extra $100,000 chunk of cash that you have to do something with or pay taxes on that. And sometimes, say if you have some excess cash left over and you don't know where to put it, and there's not like a clean cut new real estate deal where you can just kind of nicely shift that over there, RealtyMogul can be another great alternative for that, where you could take your cash and put it there. So there's really a lot of situations where falling back on the real estate crowdfunding option or alternative can make a lot of sense if your deal is either falling apart, or if you don't want to be a landlord, or if you have a little bit of extra cash and you have no clean place to put it. They can be a great option to work with. And with RealtyMogul or any real estate crowdfunding platform, there's no guarantee of how these investments are going to go. I mean, it's just like any real estate deal. Like, it all depends on how well the deal is vetted and who's managing it and how the economy goes. Lots of different factors at play. So I don't want to make you think that like it's going to be like a completely safe thing, because there's just no guarantee. But from what I've heard of these guys, they vet their properties pretty well. They do like on-site visits for every property they get involved with. So in terms of all the crowdfunding outfits out there, I think they're one of the better ones to work with, just in terms of like safety and risk mitigation and all that. So anyway, I had known about 1031 exchanges for a long time, but I never knew about this little twist on them, that there's a fairly simple way to negate some of these nightmarish issues that can come up. So if you're in the middle of a 1031 exchange and things aren't going well, or if you're thinking about going down that road, but you're not so sure you want to manage a property yourself or be a landlord firsthand, or if you just have some excess cash from a deal and you don't know where to put it, this kind of thing can be a great alternative. So since it was new to me, I wanted to share that with you guys. I do have an affiliate relationship with RealtyMogul. If you want to check them out, I'll have a link beneath this video. You can click on that and sign up if you want to look at what kinds of opportunities they have available. And keep in mind, there's other places besides RealtyMogul too. They're not the only outfit out there that does this. But they were the ones that told me about this option in the first place, so I wanted to give them credit on that. Thanks a lot for watching. I wish you all the best on your 1031 exchange transaction if you're doing one. Hopefully I'll talk to you next time. See ya.